Good evening from Washington. Thanks for joining us. I'm Brian Patrick. As we look at news now, for the first time, a federal appeals court is considering a final ruling on whether the government can force religious nonprofits to pay for birth control for their employees. Our Jason Calvi was in the courtroom for oral arguments. Jason, what's this all about?
Well, in court it was put this way, Brian. Do the religious nonprofits go in the frying pan or the fire? The religious nonprofits in this case say the government is forcing them to violate their religious beliefs. The appeals court in D.C. combined two cases today. One includes the Archdiocese of Washington, D.C. Catholic Charities, the Catholic University of America, and some other Catholic schools. The other case involves Priests for Life.
This is a battle of biblical proportions.
Priests for Life's Father Frank Pavone spent his priesthood fighting abortion. Now he says the government is forcing him to violate his pro-life views and his faith. Republican Senator Ted Cruz also rallied for Priests for Life today.
When I was in college, we had a vending machine in the college bathroom. It was 50 cents. No one stood between you and dropping 50 cents in the vending machine if you wanted to access contraceptives. This case has nothing to do with that. What this case has to do with is whether the federal government can force people to pay for the contraceptives and abortion-inducing drugs of others.
Inside the courtroom, a three-judge panel heard the debate. Is the birth control mandate substantially burdening the religious faith of the plaintiffs?
Under the law, it is not the role of the government, it's not the role of the courts to decide what does or does not violate the doctrines of the Catholic Church.
What about if the groups keep health insurance for their employees, but don't provide the birth control coverage?
They are subject to penalties of $100 per day per affected employee that is not receiving the contraceptive coverage.
So those rallying today hope the appeals court will stop the mandate. But inside the court, the government lawyer said the religious nonprofits can opt out of providing birth control coverage. He said they only need to sign this document allowing a third party to provide those services. The Catholic group's attorney countered, saying signing what they call a permission slip would make them partakers in sin. The Priests for Life attorney tells me he thinks the case is going all the way to the Supreme Court. You may remember the Supreme Court heard the Hobby Lobby Conestoga Wood case in March. That involved for-profits, but Brian, today's appeals court case was all about religious nonprofits.
All right, thank you. Our Jason Calvi. And we should mention that EWTN has a similar case pending against the government. Priests for Life, Life Suits or Sites, and many other defenders of the unborn were